Hi, my name is Minos Papas. I am the director, co-writer, and co-producer of Motherwitch. I thought the screening went very well. It's first of all, it's a pleasure to premiere in Guadalajara. It's our Latin American premiere, and I thought that the screening went very well. The audience seemed to engage with the film. There are certain very tense moments in the movie because the movie is very slow, and I could see everybody was quite, you know, with it and quite still and tense. So that was really great. And then the Q&A that we had was really um, quite perceptive. There were a lot of questions about parenthood, which is the theme of the movie, and working with the actors, as well as touching on the La Llorona myth, which I have to look into a bit more. The inspiration for Motherwitch basically is due to the folklore. I live and work in the United States, in Los Angeles these days, but Motherwitch is my first film in Cyprus, and I really wanted to make something that was historical in Cyprus. So the folklore I had been thinking about for some time. There's art surrounding the folklore that I was very interested in. And then also, I have a good friend in the US who lost her first son, unfortunately. And she inspired me through her art to really listen to parents who have lost a child. I think it's something that we don't really know how to discuss in society. It's a very difficult topic. It's very uncomfortable. But these two elements combined is what inspired me to make Motherwitch. I mean, actually, as far as films go, visual references for the film very much came from painting because the lead character is a painter in the movie. But we, together with my cinematographer, Jack MacDonald, we looked at some paintings of the late 19th century, specifically pastoral paintings, which are not as dynamic in their perspective. They're more flat, they're more quaint, let's say, and I wanted to emulate this. So we used medium lenses, we avoided wide angle lenses. And then at the same time, there is a naive Cypriot painter called Mikhail Kachalos. And he actually has a painting that has these creatures, the Galiganjari, from the folklore in his painting. And he did these wonderful paintings that are, again, very two-dimensional. They're of pastoral Cypriot life in the village, traditional life. And these are visual elements that we looked at. The other aspect was to use firelight as a main driving force for lighting. So we looked at stills and photographs that used firelight. There's actually a very good documentary called Honeyland, which is verite, and I wanted the same kind of realism that Honeyland brought to the screen. There was a lot of just like candlelight and like firelight in that film. I didn't want the night to be lit with moonlight, blue moonlight, and this kind of thing. So we kept it all very subtle and very to be lit by firelight. Yeah. So I think making a historical film, a period piece, is always difficult, no matter what budget you have. In our case, we had a very small budget, but fortunately, we had access to to real locations. So we filmed in an ancient village, abandoned village, which was built in the 15th century, and we also shot in a monastery, in a ruined monastery, which is actually a UNESCO site now. But we were able to get the permits in Cyprus, and we were able to film without too many parameters from the local authorities, which was, fortunately for us, very good. Obviously, we treated these sites with respect because they are our heritage sites. I think filmmakers need to be very respectful of the spaces they film in, not only if they have ancestral bonds to the sites, but also anywhere somebody allows you in to film, you have to be very respectful. It was also hard in terms of costumes, wardrobe, because everything, almost I think everything, was scratch built. Like even the costumes, like all the villager costumes were made from scratch, but also the uniforms of the British soldiers. The uniforms that existed in Cyprus for theater and for other films weren't the right period, so I didn't want to compromise on that. So we designed the uniforms to be the specific uniforms from 1882, and they had to be made from scratch. Other than that, we had a fantastic production designer called Marios Neokleous, and he was amazing at sourcing props and all sorts of things from different places, because there's no like prop house in Cyprus where you can just go and rent something. So he would go to restaurants, he would go to friends' houses where he had seen something, or buying things sometimes. So he was very resourceful. So the languages is a very interesting topic, because actually I think there's 4 languages. So there is the Cypriot dialect of Greek of 1880s. So this dialect that we speak in Cyprus is very different from normal standard Greek that they speak in Athens. Crete also has a dialect. Rhodes has a dialect. A lot of the other Greek islands have a dialect. In Cyprus, it's quite prominent. And together with the screenwriter Evripidis Dikeos, we did a lot of research to find the right words and the right idioms to use. So it's actually it's almost like a language of its own. There's this language, then there is ancient Greek in some of the spells, and then there is modern Greek as well, and then there is also French. And there is French because I imagined this backstory of the lead character of Eleni having studied French in Paris. Her kids speak French. She had her kids there, maybe. She brought them back to Cyprus. And for me, the French element was interesting because it is the common language of the 19th century. It's the lingua franca. But it also made Eleni a little bit of an outsider to the rest of the villagers who do not speak French. And they call her the Frankish witch. So I wanted to use practical effects to tell the story because I feel like I'm very tired of CGI, seeing too much CGI in movies. I think the best CGI is the CGI that you don't notice, you don't even know that it's there. We do have one shot that is CGI in the film. Everything else from the computers is to support the practical effects, so it's compositing or cleanups, removals. The practical effects we used were cloud tanks. So in the film, there are all these skies with these rolling clouds that are actually purple, and we filmed those with cloud tanks, small cloud tank, which is a technique used a lot in the 80s, where you film from a low angle into a glass tank, and there are levels, 2 layers of water, and you put in ink or other liquids, and it looks like a cloud that's spreading. So that was one technique that was used. Another technique is that the creatures in the film have glowing eyes, and we wanted to do this with the Shuftan method, which is with a mirror in front of the lens that bounces a light into the actor's eyes. And so it was quite tricky, but we got there, and I think it's very effective. So these are just 2 of the practical effects that we used. So that shot, I won't reveal too much about the shot because I think it's good for people to experience the shot. And a lot of people are writing about this shot on Letterboxd and other places, and everyone responds to this shot very well, which is wonderful. I'm very happy that it resonates and it like taps into people, and they feel very creeped out about it. So that's good. Sound design was very important because it had to be quiet. So all you hear is this firelight, and the character looks over, and you don't know what she's looking at. And I think that's key because the audience then has to imagine what is happening, what is over there. And then slowly you start to reveal through sound first and then through visuals. I'm fascinated to know with Mexican audiences how they resonate, how they recognize this film, because I'm finding out that there are similarities between this film, this folklore, and the La Llorona folklore. And I'm very interested to know how people see these similarities, because I think there is a commonality. There's also a very interesting aspect of colonialism in the film, and we have something to share there, a shared experience of colonialism, I think, both here and in Cyprus. And yeah, there's a huge, obviously a huge magical realism um, tradition, here in Mexico. So I'm hoping that people really like the film for this reason, because I'm trying to do a film that's not completely explicit. Um, and of course, Guillermo del Toro is one of my big inspirations. Pan's Labyrinth is an amazing film. It's also one that takes place during a time of war and not colonialism, but it's fascism and freedom, this kind of thing. So yeah,